Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really glad that we are here. Just a little bit of background before we get started. My name is Gene Marks. You can also see Corey Babka is here as well. I am the president and CEO of the Marks Group PC. I'll talk a little bit about the Marks Group in just a minute. Corey is VP of Products at Marks Group PC. We've worked together for quite a long time, and we're happy that you guys joined. This is a 2-hour session, so get ready for a lot of information. For anybody that either one is looking for a CRM system for their business, or two, you're using your CRM system but you want to get more out of it. So we're going to help you do all of that. We want to be there to answer questions. So regarding like the way the flow of this will be, I'm going to speak for about 30 minutes on just some things I've learned from selling and implementing CRM systems over the past 20 plus years, mistakes to avoid and things to think about, and just some lessons for you. I'm going to hand it over to Corey. He's going to speak for about an hour and walk through some of the highlights of 3 of the CRM applications that we sell, which is Salesforce, which is Dynamics, and Zoho. And as you can see from the screen, we also sell 2 others. We do HubSpot, and we also do Goldmine as well. And then Corey's going to turn it back to me, and I want to go through some of the other CRM applications that are out there that I think you should be aware of. Our company, we only have 10 people. We can only do so much. We only have so much bandwidth. So what there's a lot of really great CRM applications that are out there that I wish we could sell, but that we don't sell because we don't have enough bandwidth. I cover this stuff for Forbes. I write for Forbes 6 times a month, and I write about CRM and AI and other technologies. And I just want to make sure that you guys are up to speed on some of the latest and greatest CRM applications that are out there. So that's who we are and where we are. One final thing as we go through this presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the question panel that you've got on the right-hand side of your GoToWebinar panel. I'm going to, as soon as I turn things over to Corey, I'll turn off my video and I can start responding to questions that way. And then whatever questions you have throughout the presentation, I'll do my best to keep up with, and certainly if not, we'll get back to you later on for sure. Okay. So having said that, Corey, you can turn off your video. I'm going to leave mine on just for the hell of it, and I'm going to move through just some of the things I want to cover before I turn things back over to Corey. And the first has to do with CRM itself and the benefits of CRM. So again, we have about 600 clients that use CRM systems around the country. There are really 3 big things that you're going to get at by buying a customer relationship management system. Okay, number 1 is that nothing should fall through the cracks. What I mean that is that you're going to have activities. Remember that your CRM system is nothing more than a database. It is somewhere on the cloud, most likely. It should have every single person that touches you and your business, and that is suppliers, vendors, prospects, customers, partners, family members, anybody that has any kind of connection to your business. And people have follow-ups in their CRM system. My best clients that use it, everybody has some kind of follow-up, and it might mean to check in with somebody in a month, check in with somebody for a year, or even just be part of a list so that they're getting some type of a campaign or a marketing email. You want to touch, and CRM systems help you manage the data so that you are touching all of your people that you're in your community. Number 2, my best clients use.
Gene, I interrupt you? Gene?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you haven't shared your screen yet? Are you trying to share your screen?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I am trying to share my. I'm just so glad I'm talking ahead. Sorry, guys.
Get you early because I know.
I am so glad that you did that. You see it now? Okay.
That's what we need. Yep, very good.
So sorry. Okay, so we said the first benefit of CRM that we talked about was making sure that nothing falls through the cracks. The next benefit of CRM is making sure that everybody is on the same page. So, whoever you're sharing information about, whatever information you have or data that you have about your customers, your prospects, your vendors, your suppliers, you should have notes, you have follow-ups, you have history, you have emails, you have appointments, you have tasks, you have just data about them. Well, if you're using your CRM system the right way, what happens is that whoever pulls up that customer's data or that person's data, whether they're on a mobile device or they're doing this from their own, their laptop or their PC, you guys should all be sharing the same data. So basically nobody looks like a dope. So everybody's on the same page with a good CRM system. Very, very important to know. And number three, the third biggest benefit that I have seen significantly over the past, particularly over the past few years, is about increasing business value. The average age of the US small business owner right now is about 55 years old, according to the Small Business Administration. More than half of the US small business owners are over the age of 50. People are thinking about succession planning. They want to increase the value in their business. They invest in property, plant, equipment, people, and of course, systems and technologies. It is a big data world that we live in. If you are using your CRM system the right way, and it is complete and it is accurate, and it is tight and it is useful, then if it comes time to bring on an outside partner, to move the business on to a family member, to sell your business to a third party, I am seeing time and time again that the people that do that, that have a really good CRM system in place, it increases the value of their business. Very, very important to keep in mind is that CRM systems do just that. They increase the value. So there's short-term benefits, nothing falling through the cracks, everybody on the same page, using the system, relying on the data to manage your business, your sales, your marketing, your customer service activities. But then you got to have the long-term picture, the long-term value. And that is if you have a good CRM database, I'm telling you, it pays off in a big, big way. Okay, I want to make sure that we're all clear on what the key features are of a good CRM system. There really breaks down to three. There's sales features. A lot of times people buy CRM systems just for their sales teams. So there's contact management, there's lead management, there's opportunity, and of course, forecasting in quotes. When you have a good sales system, it means you've got a good, tight database of all of your prospects and your customers. When leads come in, they're either coming in, they could be coming in by phone, but if they're coming in from email, if people are going to your website, they're going right into your CRM system. When you guys signed up for this webinar, you're a lead for me. You will be hearing from me again because I want to make sure you got value from the system and see if we can help. Well, when you signed up on our website for this, your lead automatically came into our CRM system with some automation following up to remind me that it's there and to follow up with you and to register you for the webinar and all that good stuff. So you want all that automated, but leads come in that way with the process. Opportunities, or if any of you turn into a potential opportunity for me, I will be creating that opportunity so we can all share it in our company. Same thing below, if I'm giving you a quote or creating a forecast under that opportunity, CRM systems manage all of that as well. So sales is a big part of your CRM system. Number two is marketing. Now, some people get confused and think that platforms like MailChimp or Constant Contact are CRM systems, and they're not. MailChimp, Constant Contact, we use Constant Contact, by the way, they're awesome. They are great bulk email systems. Their job is to get emails out to your prospects or to your community and make sure they get delivered. That is what they do. But they do not manage the follow-ups, and they do not manage the data, and they do not manage any actions that are being done around those bulk emails that are being sent out. That all gets done in your CRM system. So if you have a good CRM system, your data should be accurate and complete, and then you're leveraging that data to send out bulk emails. Many CRM systems send out bulk emails directly from the CRM system. I don't recommend that if it's more than a couple of hundred emails at a time because there are spam issues and your internet service provider might have a problem with that. So most of them, the good ones, integrate with marketing. And so therefore you can send out bulk emails through services like MailChimp or Constant Contact. So don't think that those services are CRMs. They're not. They just work with your CRMs, and they work in the area of campaign management as well. So it's not just sending out emails, but it's also following up on those emails, having other touches, having other tasks, and then of course, gathering in that information to see the value of campaigns that you're running. A good CRM system will be built in with those functions to do just that. And again, even after Corey shows you Salesforce, Dynamics, and Zoho, I'm going to also share with you some other CRM systems that are out there that we don't sell that also provide those features and that capability. Finally, great CRM systems provide service. They track incidents or problems or issues as they're raised by your customers. They have knowledge management databases. So when an issue comes up, your team can look up that issue and get an answer. By the way, artificial intelligence is going to automate a lot of this in the coming months and years. But even after you get an issue, depending on the type of issue that gets raised in your system, good CRM systems will put it into a queue and maybe route it to the right person that is expertise can handle that issue. And then it will track all services around those issues, including any field services that you're doing. My feeling is, and again, I'm subjective on this, I feel that CRM systems should be used by everybody in a company, sales, marketing, service, even accounting and financial, because anybody that has any kind of a touch with a customer in any given way should all be in on what the customer is doing. And that's from the initial marketing all the way through sales and then all the way through service. And a great CRM system is going to provide you with the features and functionalities to do all of that. Okay, so over the years, we have implemented hundreds of CRM systems just to make sure that we are clear on this. And I want to be clear that we have we have had many successes, and we have had some out and out just horrific failures over the years, like tear-stained, profanity-filled disasters in some projects. So I'm 58 years old. I've been doing this for more than 20 years. I have learned a lot of lessons. So I'd like to share with you guys, whether you have a CRM system or you don't, I just want to share with you some of the things that I have learned over the past 20 years that that I want you to avoid a lot of the mistakes that I have made, okay? There's really 7 of them. So let me go through what those 7 are. The first is you have to go cloud. There are a lot of different CRM systems out there. Most of them have moved to the cloud. There was resistance at first, but now the few remaining hangers on that are not a cloud-based system are generally not the systems that you want to migrate to. Don't worry about security. I know people have some of those concerns. Trust me when I tell you that the people that run these CRM platforms, they've got more resources and more expertise than you and I do on our own, systems in our offices. I'm not saying anything is guaranteed or perfect, but they are certainly better adept at handling any kind of security issues. I just don't think it should be a big issue that you should be concerned about. And frankly, even with all the security issues that we hear about all the time about data hacks and the malware and ransomware, it's few and far between that they hit CRM platforms. So when you're in the cloud, the providers can update you immediately in real time. They can provide service real time. You can access this stuff from any device. You don't have to worry about whether it's a Mac or a Windows PC or an Android phone. They all have cloud, mobile applications. Go cloud. Focus on going to the cloud. It is the easiest and most effective way to have a good CRM system. Number 2, when you're evaluating CRM systems, focus on the company, not the product. Because back in the day, the product was important. There was a time when people would have those spreadsheets and they would list out all the features and they would check off, does this product have this? Does this product have that? CRM systems have been around now for a long time, guys. And they're watching each other as well. They're pretty mature. Most of the mainstream CRMs that we're showing you or that I'm talking about later, they're going to have the features that you're going to want. Trust me when I tell you they've gotten that advanced. And if some CRM provider comes out with something incredibly glorious and great, or and innovative, trust me when I tell you that all their competitors, because they're on the cloud, they're watching each other. So they're going to see what that feature is. They're going to build it into their products as well. The key is the company. Will the company be around? Does this company have good support? Do they have good testimonials? Do they have a good client base and a good community? Do they do conferences frequently? Is the CRM product their main product, or is it sort of like a bolt-on to something else? Focus on the company, not the product. I guarantee you that the product will wind up being fine for you. The company itself might not be the greatest fit. And by the way, when I talk about companies, just as a bit of advice, if you get down the road with a good CRM product, you like the company, go to their conference before you buy. Most good companies have CRM conferences. And when they have their conferences, that you go, you see them in action. And trust me, the sessions that they do at their conferences, they're done by the technical people, not the salespeople. So you can, get a pretty good idea of how good they are and what kind of company they are. Shell out $1,000 or whatever, go and spend a day at Vegas or Orlando or whatever they're doing their conference, and you can get a good eyeful as to what they do before you make an investment in them long term. And one final thing when it comes to choosing companies and not the product and whatever, when it does come time to do evaluate these companies, you can ask for testimonials from the companies, but go on some of the popular job sites like Indeed or Career Builder or even LinkedIn. You can search for companies that have jobs out that are looking for people that know this product. Then you can go to their actual customers. These are people using the product, and ask them, how do you, I see you're using this product. I saw you on Indeed. How do you guys like this product? And people talk, and they will tell you, and they will give you a testimonial that way. So again, focus on the company, not the product. Next, have an administrator. If there is anything that Corey and I have learned over the past however many years that we have been doing this, is that the administrator is key to your CRM system, which means this: if you have a good administrator, your administrator will make sure that your data is complete, that your data is accurate, that your database is reliable. Now, you do not have to hire a database expert or some advanced technology person. You can have a good power user, a good admin in your office, somebody that's just smart enough to understand stuff, that wants to learn the product, and that turns around and can say to you, can wipe the noses and diaper your salespeople and your service people to make sure their butts are in gear. And as long as you're giving them the support by making sure that administrator gets trained and maybe has an outside firm, maybe like ours, that supports the administrator, then the administrator will take care of the rest. Have somebody that owns your system, somebody that's responsible for your database. And if the database is wrong, if it's outdated, if it's inaccurate, it's not the administrator's fault, but it's the administrator's job to fix it and put in the controls to make sure that that problem doesn't happen again. That should be the expert on your system and support them. Whenever I have clients that don't have an administrator, they fail. And if you don't have one person that is going to be your go-to person for your CRM system, my recommendation is to not get a CRM system, because you do need that person in place. Again, does not have to be a high technical person. It can be an office admin. But listen, if you've got 5, 10, 20 users, that person might be spending anywhere from half a day to a day a week doing administrative work. The more time that your administrator is spending, that's good news, because it means the more that you guys are using your CRM system, and he or she is in demand to fix and act on things. Okay. Number 4, besides having an administrator, is about getting executive buy-in. This is important because when it comes time to talk to executives and to when it comes time to buy a system, it's all about management. It's all about the people that own the system from the top level. And Corey and I have had disastrous implementations with VP of sales or VP of marketings or senior executives that just don't follow up. They don't own it. They're kind of pushed around by their own, by their own users. I mean, my best clients, a few times a year, I get calls from prospective clients that reach out to me and say, hey, I'm a sales manager at this pool distribution company, pool parts and supplies, and I just switched jobs and now I'm working at this pool distribution company. I used your CRM system before. I'm going to use it again, install it, give me this and give me that, and that's what I want from you, and I'm going to make sure that my team uses it because that's what I'm using to run my team. You got to make sure that, when I have an executive like that, it's the greatest news in the world for me. The worst scenario is when your users are pushing your management around. You have to have an executive that makes the decision to get the CRM system, makes a decision, an announcement to your team that says, if it ain't in the CRM system, it doesn't exist at all, and is willing to support both ethically and morally and financially your admin to make sure that he or she is really up to speed and doing what they need to do so that they can succeed with their CRM system, okay? So get executive buy-in. Next, focus on reports, because in the end, your CRM system is nothing more than a database. No matter what Salesforce or Microsoft or Zoho or anybody else wants to call it, it's just a database. It's a shared cloud-based database. And if the data isn't right, the whole system doesn't work well. And one of the things that I have found, and one of the hard way, is that to really make sure that your data is correct, and to really make sure that your people are using your system, because that's always a big issue, have reports. If you have got a CRM system and you're still using spreadsheets to do your forecasts or your pipelines or your open leads, you're not using your CRM system. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Your CRM system should replace all of your spreadsheets that you're using. And because it's a database, which means that it's made up of tables, and tables are nothing more than individual spreadsheets. So there's no reason why you can't have any report coming out of your CRM system that mirrors what your existing spreadsheet is. And once people move over to the CRM system and use that instead of keying information into a spreadsheet, well, they're not spending any more time than they were spending before, but now you're getting them using the system, and it's all in one place, and you can expand their usage once they're doing the basics of data entry. Now, I listed here some of my most popular reports from amongst my clients, and I just want to make sure that you're comfortable that you know them. The most popular report among everybody is a pipeline report. Every good sales manager knows what a pipeline is. It is a list of your prospects or your deals or your projects or your bids or your estimates, who it's to, what the amount is, what the probability is that it's going to close, when you expect it to close, and then all activities around it, so that you know who talked to this guy last, or who's supposed to talk to this guy next, or what specific notes are there about this specific opportunity. Most of my clients, before they go into CRM systems, they're doing all of this on a spreadsheet. Again, get rid of the spreadsheet. Do the same thing in your CRM system. Generate that pipeline report on a weekly basis. It can be auto-generated, or you can do it however you want. Run your team off of your pipeline report. If there's anybody on your team that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's going to show up on your pipeline report, and then you can address that person. But the pipeline report is like the core sales report that any good sales manager uses to run their teams. It's the most popular report. Now, in addition to that, there are some other popular reports as well. There's the open quotes report, which is just if you're using your CRM system to do quoting, and I hope you are, because most of them do this, then you run the report. It's an aged open quote report. You want to know what reports are outstanding for more than 30 days or 60 days, what quotes, so that you can follow up on them. A lot of my clients like to use activity reports. They like to zero in on those salespeople that are maybe underperforming, and they like to know what they're doing with their time. What tasks do they have scheduled next week? What appointments and phone calls do they have scheduled? Why are you talking to this guy who's a $500 prospect when you should be talking to that guy who's a $5,000 prospect? Good sales managers rely on their CRM systems to show them pending and historical activities of their team, so they can better understand how they're spending their time and hone in on the ones that aren't performing as well, so they can take a look at what they're doing with their time and coach them and mentor them into spending their time that much better. CRM systems are critical for doing that. The next most popular report among my clients are the open issues report. The open issues report is a problem report. This is the Jack Daniels report. You run this once a week, and you have a couple of shots at Jack Daniels when you're reading the report. But my best clients, they rely on the open issues report. Why? Because good people running teams, they don't run away from problems. They run towards them, because problems are opportunities. And if your customers are having issues, you want to know about them, not only to address those issues, but maybe to recommend other kinds of revenue generating solutions to also help fix those issues. So when I have good clients that use their CRM systems, they're opening up issues all the time from their customers, and they're ranking them. There's hot, cold, and warm, from gold, silver, and copper customers. If a gold customer opens up an issue, there's automation built around it so that people are being notified right away that this gold customer opened this issue, and the issue gets managed and tasked to somebody that is expert in that problem, so they can immediately address that issue. And if the issue hasn't been resolved in 24 hours, the service manager is getting emails about that issue saying, you've got an open issue from a gold customer that hasn't been resolved yet. You need to go in there and do something about it. So open issues is definitely a big report. And finally, there's the lost sales report. It's another Jack Daniels report. That's the one where if you're doing your pipeline well, you've got all the stuff in your pipeline, you're not going to close everything. We know that. So when you close out a deal unsuccessfully, you want to make sure that you finish it, you close it, and you give the reason why. I mean, in my business, we lose deals to competitors. We lose because of other products. We lose because of pricing. We have a few different reasons why we lose. So, once a quarter, I go through my lost sales report and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I lost that. That was a bummer. That was a bummer. But I like to know why, because I look at trends. The reason why we're selling HubSpot now is because for a few years we were losing a lot of deals to HubSpot. And finally, I'm like, this is crazy. We should sell HubSpot. Clearly, it's a popular product. So lost sales is another really, really big report and something that's very, very important to a lot of clients. So bottom line is, guys, focus on reports for your CRM system. You want to use your system really well. Use the reports that come out or customize new reports. Very, very important to do. Finally, almost finally, leverage automation and workflow and AI. It's all coming. You're hearing AI, Chat GPT, Microsoft's having their AI, Bing and Google Bard and Google Duet. And I know you're hearing all of this stuff that's all around you, okay? Here's my advice to you, okay? Whatever CRM system that you're using, hopefully you're working with a consultant or you're working with the vendor, call up your resource and be like, I'll pay you if you're a vendor, but you really don't have to, because we do this stuff for free. Take a few hours out. We want you to walk through how we're using our CRM system, and we want to know where we can automate going forward, because there's a lot of different things that you can be automating. Just to give you an example, I have a report that comes out to me that automatically once a month that tells me if there's any clients that haven't been contacted in the past 3 months. I need to know that because we've lost clients before because they've slipped through the cracks, and that's a bad thing. You can automate that. If you go to a trade show and you upload leads, you can automate then the processes behind that to assign those leads to somebody, to send emails to those prospects, and then to notify managers if your salespeople aren't following up on the leads correctly. I mentioned open issues. If something's open for a period of time, have an automatic report that can alert your sales management if there's an issue that's going on for a while. Ask your consultant, ask your CRM vendor. They're all coming out with more AI stuff. They want you to keep paying their monthly fees to keep using their products. So you want to ask them, what can you be doing? What's coming out, and what can we be doing to leverage our system better through automation, workflow, and AI? Now, I have 7 tips of success here. If you notice, there's only 6 that are there, because let me just give you the last final one before I turn this on to Corey. Use an expert, okay? I know that's what we do. Okay? We're $185 an hour, so we ain't cheap. There's a lot of people that charge a lot more. There's some people that charge a lot less. If you're gonna get a CRM system, you really should have somebody expert to help you, if not implement the CRM system, but to at least point you in the right direction for your CRM system. Even if you hire somebody for a half a day or a day, just to give you some advice on what fields to set up and what to do and what not to do, it will go a long, long way. None of these systems, you'll see when Corey takes you through Salesforce and Zoho and Dynamics, none of these systems are curing cancer. You've got plenty of opportunity to learn all this stuff on yourself. There's a lot of resources that are out there, so don't worry about that. However, you might not have the time to do it. And if you involve a good consultant with you, or if the vendor can help you as well, lean on an expert to help you implement the system. You're only going to do this, I hope, once or twice in your lifetime. We do this all the time, so we can cut to the chase and we can teach you what to do and do it really well. So those are my 7 tips for success. That's where we are right now. I'm going to turn things over to Corey, and I'm going to have Corey actually walk you through Salesforce and Dynamics and Zoho, and then I'll be back for just like the final 20 or 30 minutes to wrap up with some final advice. So Corey, first of all, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
Are you able to share your screen, or do I need to do something to have you share your screen?
Yeah, look at us as technical whizzes. Just make me a presenter and then I can actually share my screen.
Coming up. I'm going to do that right now. So I'm making you a presenter.
And then I should be able to show my screen. Actually going to do that. I'm going to show just this. And I'm going to use Gene to tell me if I'm actually doing this right.
I see a blank screen right now. Yes, I see it. You're good.
All right, very good. So you see my Salesforce, right?
Yep,
So
you're all set to
Gene,
go.
before you put yourself on mute, I'm going to have, this is my
I'm gonna
dynamic.
take myself off of video, and if anybody has any questions so far, I'm going to go to the Q&A pane and answer them right away. Okay?
Gene, you can see my dynamics now, right?
I can.
And then this is my Zoho.
I can.
And this is my
I see your whole browser and all 3 browser windows, so you're good.
Perfect. That's good.
Okay. Right.
So hey folks, again, thank you, Gene. He gave me, I have about an hour to go through the 3 products, which is fine. Should be more than enough. Am I going to show you everything in the hour for 3 different products? Absolutely not even close. At the end of the day, I kind of tell people that we went through the rules, we went through everything that these systems do. At the end of the day, these products all do kind of the same thing, right? They really do. They're the same. They're tracking your contacts, your customers, your leads, your opportunities. All that is what's being done. It's usually when I do a demo of a different product, and a lot of times we'll have calls from people, and I will do demos of this and this versus this. Sometimes I'll just go right to Zoho and we just look at that. And it could be maybe where their market is or how big the company is, and just a gut feel from our side. That's kind of what we're here for. I'm not going to turn you away from something if you're in love with Salesforce and that's what you want to do. It's my job though to make sure that you are picking it for the right reasons, not just because it's the cool kids table and everyone's got it, right? At the end of the day, these products all do a similar thing. They all do this, just nuances, right? A little bit of difference here and there, but I find look and feel and cost. Those are the 2. Those are it right there. Like that's the one that makes people say, I like this, I hate this, I'm good on this, it's okay. And that's where we come in. So a lot of times when we're talking, we are talking about the cost of each, cost per license, per user. They are all cloud-based systems, so therefore you've got price per user, right? Per month, usually. Certain products like Salesforce, they're for a year up front, so you have to buy that. Zoho's a year up front with a discount, but sometimes they'll let you prorate it if you decide to get out 6 months in. Dynamics is definitely, it can go month to month, but it's easier to do it by a year. But again, you're paying per named user, right? So that's something to keep in mind. When you're budgeting, you have to figure out how many users do I need, not concurrent, not like Goldmine days where it was, Act and Goldmine like concurrent usage. It's more of how many users do I need right now, and how many individual names are going to log into this system. They don't let you use a sales@marksgroup.net as one login and an info@marksgroup.net as another, and then there's Corey and Gene. So therefore there's only 4 users, and then the other 10 employees can share those other 2. They don't dig that. They don't like that at all. It's kind of a license violation. So you have to keep that in mind when we're budgeting. And again, that leads to cost, right? So I'm going to go through a little bit of each, okay? If I'm missing something, and by all means, please, answer that, ask your questions over here. I've got the question window open on the side as well, so I can see that. If there is anything that I'm missing, feel free to, ask away, and I'll answer it. It may lead me down a different track, but I'll try not to get off too much of a track. Frankly, I don't have a script here. I'm just going to kind of roll through each product and how I kind of see it and what I think is important, and we kind of go from there. I'll start with Salesforce. Salesforce is the most common one out there. Everyone knows Salesforce. There's something to be said for a company that their stock symbol is CRM. Okay, they knew this is all they wanted to do for the rest of their lives, right? All they do is CRM. Zoho, suite of products. Microsoft, we all know Microsoft. So Salesforce is just a CRM company, and that's what they are. They have different pieces that bolt on, and they buy others, and they work with third parties and all that. But for the most part, they're a CRM company, and that's what they do. There's a reason they're the #1 in the market. whether small business, medium size, or large enterprise level. I will be frank with you that I think sometimes their idea of what small business is not necessarily the same of what Gene and I consider, okay? Everyone says small business, could be revenue, could be number of employees. I look at it as more of number of users. I'm selfish that way. That's how we sell things. That's how we look for things. I think Salesforce is their sweet spot is enterprise level. I think it's 50 users or more. And that could shut off most people on this call or not, but I do find that 50 users or more is their sweet spots when they really start to pay attention. And it's where the cost model doesn't hit your bottom line as much, right? It is the most expensive one out there. I mean, beyond like an SAP or an Oracle or something like that. Compared to the other two that we're going to talk about today, of the three, Salesforce is the most expensive, okay? That range is anywhere from 100 to 150 bucks a month per user, okay? So that's what your budget. You want to, I know that there are some end of quarter deals, things like that, but if you're budgeting, you want to look at it and say, you know, you want to look at it that way and talk about the pricing, okay? So let me just make some notes here. Just want to make sure I go over that. So, all right, so we've got cost. So what's the rest of it? Well, it does have, at this point, you have with service, marketing, Salesforce chatter. For the most part, we're in the sales part right now. This is the sales application, right? But there are others. If I look at view all, you can see these are all my different applications within the system. So you might have service, you might have sales, you might have the marketing module, right? And that's okay, that's fine. You're going to pay a little bit here and there based on what that is, but this is your starting point, okay? Now I do have this on a wide monitor, so I apologize if it's way too small for some of you, but this is my widescreen monitor. If I was to shrink it down, you're gonna go 2 columns. It is it's reactive in that way. All of these products are. And they will respond to tablet versus, you know, desktop PC versus laptop, Surface laptop that's kind of square, widescreen, all those different things, right? It will reply or it will respond. What I've got here, if I just start talking about this, I've got our, let's see, I've got my, I want to do this here. So I've got my sales home, my home page. You're going to notice the home page is actually a very common theme. That has to do with where do I start my day? What's my dashboard? What's my life look like right away? Salesforce is all right here. Now, in my experience, Salesforce is kind of meant for it was in a way, Salesforce Lightning is what's called now. Now, at that point, it's not new. It's like 5, 6, 7 years old almost. I don't know the exact year, but there was Salesforce Classic and there was Salesforce Lightning. Lightning was built for the iPad generation, just was. New kids coming out of college, they all had iPads, they wanted to be on the road warriors, sales folks, whichever, they wanted to have an iPad and have everything on. It was all touchscreen, it was all right in front of them. So if you'll notice right here when I look at the screen, not a lot of scrolling, right? Not at all. Whereas Zoho, there's a lot of scrolling. Dynamics, there's a lot of scrolling, right? So what you do have is, you know, that again, it's that version is the Lightning version, and they made it so you could move faster. That's what it was, right? So I look at this here. I've got my home page with my very customizable dashboard. Mine happens to be here. It shows me a task that I need to do today, some key deals, some recent opportunities that I might have. No events. Good. I've got a clear schedule. And these are my recent records that are to remind me and say, oh, I need to get in touch with that person. I forgot that was there, right? You'll notice when I go over here, they all pop up. They're clickable if they are, right? I can go to websites, I can go to my name, can go right here, go right to the account. So very reactive to you, and it's meant to be that way, okay? Across the top. What I do want to talk about, and we're going to spend a little bit more time on this one, is we're going to talk about the big four, right? So the big four, as I call them, the 4 pillars of CRM, if you want to go there. Don't worry, I don't think I coined the term or anything, but you've got the accounts, right? Which are companies that, you know, it's companies that you're working with, customers, the accounts, the businesses. It comes from the term account manager, right? If you're an account manager, you have a territory of companies, customers. They could be prospects. They could be customers. They could be inactive customers, inactive prospects. They could be vendors, right? But that's where you're an account manager. So that's what accounts are. Accounts are not necessarily just customers. They could also be prospects, okay? People that work there, contacts, right? So you've got accounts, you've got contacts of people that work there. You've got opportunities. In Zoho, they call them deals, okay? Same idea, potential deals, potential sales, right? So you've got your big three right there. Those three are closely intertwined. The fourth guy, that's the lead, okay? The lead record actually becomes, hopefully, one of those three. So everyone on the call today is a lead in Gene CRM, in the Marks Group CRM, right? That lead will hopefully be contacted by email, phone calls, whichever it is. And eventually, once we get kind of engagement going, I'm going to convert that lead to these three. It'll be a business with a person with a potential opportunity, hopefully. I might have more than one contact. Okay, I'm going to add them on. I'll have multiple contacts, right? So this is all, if you've done any other CRM system, any other CRM demo, this is all very common stuff, and it should be common stuff. If you're coming from something like an act or a gold mine, something a little bit older, yesteryear, you're not going to have the same level. But I can tell you any major CRM system out right now has those big four, okay? And then there's other pieces. Like you can see my leads here, my opportunities. I've got tasks. Those are just activities attached to each. My accounts, contacts, campaigns, marketing campaigns, dashboards, more reporting. You're going to see these common ideas. Okay? Again, they all do the same thing. It's just a matter of nuance and cost, look and feel. If I start to look at this a little bit, let's just go to one of my accounts. So I'm going to go to United Oil and Gas, right? This is an account. And I click on this account. You can see I'm in an account level now because it says up top. What do I have in my splash page? Now, this is out of the box Salesforce. Can you customize it? Absolutely. You can move things around. What I do personally, right away, I usually move this tab first because I tend to like to see everything about this person before this company, before I start looking at the related items, which are those dynamic items, activities, events, opportunities, everything that's kind of connected to it. In this case, I've also got contacts. I've got 4 contacts here attached to this account of United Oil, okay? I've got an opportunity, I've got 6 opportunities. However, they're not always open, right? I've got, these are closed 1, this one's open, this is a needs analysis, we'll look at it in a second. Proposals that are out. I've got cases, service, right? Gene talked about everybody staying on the same page. This is what's key. You have service records as well in your CRM. It used to be back in the day, you had like Salesforce management, you know, things like that, Salesforce systems, hence the name, but it was other products. You only had sales, right? You had lead, prospect, customer, and then once they became a customer, it kind of dropped off, right? A true CRM system actually has service records too, so you can put these tickets in here. If I'm a sales rep and I'm walking into a location, I want to know what other items are out there, what service items are out there. So here are my cases. Are they open, closed? Are they angry when I walk in and try and upsell them? Is there going to be a problem, or is it going to be we're doing great? You don't want to have surprises. No one likes surprises. Off to the right, I've got my activities, okay? I've got upcoming activities, and I've got closed activities. Now I'm going to talk about something called the roll-up, okay? Now the roll-up is when I have one activity across 2 different contacts, 1 each. When I go up to the account, I actually have 2, and that's what you see here. This one's with Lauren, who is a contact over at this company. This one's with Arthur, who is also a contact. Shows his email, his phone when I'm over the pop-up, shows me Lauren's information, all there for me. Very easy to look at, right? These are upcoming items. Now, how do they start there? They start because if I look at Arthur, for instance, now I'm in contacts. Again, related items, what's his details, okay, his phone numbers, but you can see he's got a couple activities that are up and coming, okay? If I want to create a new one, let's go back to the account. If I go back to the account record here, and I start looking at, let's go to Stella, okay? Stella's here, she has no activities. Maybe I want to create one. Simple click of a button, there it is, put in the date, what's the subject, et cetera, and save it, and we're done, okay? And I can close that out, right? If I want to. So if I want to close this out and get rid of that, if I want to make it bigger, I can always pop it open as well. But they're very easy to just log a phone call, you know, log a task, open a task. This is more future facing. This is more historical stuff that you're logging phone calls along those lines. Okay. So we've got that. So that's our activities, our contacts. Now, if I start looking at my opportunities, and so I'm going to start a little bit different. Right now, we dug into the account. I can do a search and search for Stella, right? And I search there, and I'm going to get a few things for Stella. Okay, there's Stella right there. This is your little Einstein guy that's going to help you, right? If I do this here, it's going to start looking for the stuff that we're doing. Now, if I wanted to do and search for United, okay, now I'm going to United Oil and Gas, but I've got some others. This is recommended. This is in a way, the AI of the system, like it knows that's what I looked at last, so it's recommended, but I've got others down here, other opportunities, other contacts, right? So that's the search. So if I just go to my opportunities though, and each one of these items is what's known as a view. If I go to these opportunities, you're going to see here's my opportunities, here's my open ones, there's closing next month, closing this month. Here are my opportunities, right? And if I look at them this way, I can see them. Now, I'm also just going to go back and just look at my recently viewed if I want to see that. And here's a couple there, right? One's closed one, one's needs analysis. I look at this guy. Here's my opportunity. Again, activities are here, right? I've got my related shifted over to the right. A little bit of design change, not a huge deal. My different contact roles, who's in there? I don't have any in there yet, but I can change that. I can change it where I can say Arthur, right? And Lauren are going to be, the role is actually going to be business user, and this one is going to be economic buyer. And I save it. Now I've got a relationship between that opportunity, that potential buy, right? And that is known as a contact role. Zoho does the same thing, so does Dynamics. Again, they all do it. It's just a matter of how comfortable are you moving around, okay? There are certain times where you have to know your user base, right? You have to know how technologically savvy are they? How good are they at navigation? Do they click into the Google search bar, the URL, instead of typing the URL into the actual URL bar? I mean, those types of things that you want to make sure that you have an understanding of your people, because I don't want to be here and sell a product that's going to make their lives more difficult. That's the opposite of what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it easier, right? So you want to start small. Many times, I know when Gene was talking about the different administrators, things like that, the reports that you want, yeah, you want to start with those. You don't want to pre-engineer your entire system. You want to say, what do we want to accomplish in Q1 of next year in the first 3 months of this project? What's our goal? And then once we get into it and we're comfortable, now what can we add on? What can we add on? We at the company here, we do a lot more of phasal approach things. We don't do soup to nuts type project. I mean, we do the soup to nuts type projects, but not in one phase. We know that implementation is training, right? Migration of some data, some customizations, making sure everyone's using it and they're comfortable, right? Making sure that you're getting a return on that initial investment. Then we go to workflow, automation. What else can be done? Do all these systems have an automation principle to it? Yes, absolutely. If then else, send this email, right? All over the place, but you don't know what you don't know until you're really in it. Okay. Digressing a little bit here, but it all plays across the three that I'm going to show, okay? Coming up on the end of this one right here, because I've already spent about 15 to 20 minutes on this, so I do want to wrap up a little bit on Salesforce before I jump to the others, but a lot of what we covered here is key to showing more of the same in the other two products, okay? But here is my opportunity. I've got what stage are we in? Oh, now we're in identified decision makers. That's fine. I can move that along, right? I can win it and lose it later on. I can add products. I have add notes. I can upload files, right? All those things are very, very important. Here I've got start a project. And if you look at this task is part of that roll up. It's related to Lauren. It's related to this opportunity, right? And because of that, it's also related to the entire account. So it all kind of comes up. So as an account manager, I'm reviewing my accounts and I'm looking down on everything else below it. I hope that kind of makes sense. You're going to see that common theme as we go through the others, right? So at the end of the day with Salesforce, you're looking at a very, very good product. Gene always kind of says that no one's ever gotten fired for picking Salesforce. He's absolutely right. at a Christmas party, when someone says, what are you using? And you're like, I'm using Salesforce. You're like, oh yeah, I use that too. It is. It's the most popular one out there. However, it's also the most expensive. In my eyes, I think it's very expensive for what it does. I think there's other competing products that do the same. But again, it goes back to those numbers. How many users do I have, right? What's my budget, right? What, on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I going to use this, right? I equate this to, and I apologize to those on the call if you've heard me say this before, but if I have a Ferrari in my garage and I'm not using it every day, I'm going to be upset, right? If I have a Toyota Camry in the garage, no offense to Toyota, just they're not Ferraris, and I'm using it 3 times a week, that might be okay, right? And that's what you just have to kind of imagine to yourself. What's my budget in relation to what I'm going to do and how much I'm going to use this product? That's what it is, okay? So price, look and feel, it's a slick look and feel. It's very smooth, it's very small. Again, when we go back to, if I look at Arthur, you notice I'm not scrolling. Like my scroll bar is tiny, that's it, because everything's tab on tab, right? Just a little bit here and there, I can clean it up. I can link Twitter, X, I can link to it now, yeah, just to keep the modern, so everyone knows the date that this was done. So now called X. We can link Twitter to it. They haven't changed it yet in Salesforce, but give it a week or two. We've got this here, and that's kind of the news of what's going on, okay? I can do new cases. I can do a bunch of different things. On this record itself, new notes, approval, whatever they are, if I want to have approval patterns. It's a nice, easy interface. Hit these drop downs, shows me my recent, so I can jump around and navigate through. Very, very nice, okay? So that being said, I am gonna just, again, any of the questions, let them go. Put them into the chat on the right. I believe I can see that there are no questions as of yet. However, if I'm seeing that wrong, Gene, just stop me, let me know. He may also be answering some as they come, okay? Moving on more towards something, moving on, let's go to the next level down in my eyes, and I'm gonna go to dynamics, okay? I don't say next level down because of superiority or hierarchy of who's better than that. It's not, because again, I feel that they're all individually good products. It's just they fit different models. What I'm going down to is the level of price. So if I'm looking at Dynamics, there's a couple of advantages to Dynamics being Microsoft. This week it's Dynamics 365 for sales. Next week it may be 365 for sales Dynamics. I don't know. They do change the name quite often, but they use the 365 base level, that marketing model, and it is Dynamics now, right? So Dynamics 365 for finance is more what it used to be, their financial modules. You have for sales here, that's their sales part of CRM. There's field service, which is another add-on product that's just total field service for CRM. There's a service module. There's so many, right? And it depends on your licensing, which ones you get, okay? We're just gonna talk about sales today. But if you have a license for sales, my budget, and I say this loosely because it does fluctuate depending on what your licensing is already for whether Exchange, Office 365, other products. You may need to add on something else for another $5 and you get CRM. Who knows? Depends on what you have. My budget, what I tell people, is anywhere from $95 to $115, right? So about $100 a user is what I look at, okay, for CRM. For Dynamics 365 for sales. See, I still call it Microsoft CRM because I've been doing this for 15 years, and that's what it used to be called. When I started, it was CRM 4.0. Okay, so it's gone through a lot of changes in names. We're settled on this one, I believe, right? So what I do have is about $100 a user. Again, I think their sweet spot is the 50 user and above, but I do have plenty of users that are at the 15 to 20, and they're fine. They're good with it. They're Microsoft shops. They want to stay Microsoft, and they want to go there and they want to stick in that because it feels more comfortable. It doesn't have to be done that way. Like, it's important to note that. People will come to us and say, well, we use Exchange or Outlook. We use OneDrive, and we use SharePoint, or well, that was OneDrive. We use OneNote a lot. Okay, that's great, and everyone's using Office, right? Those are all fantastic things, and that is a decent reason to go and point it and at least look at Dynamics 365 for sales. It doesn't have to be your end game though. It doesn't have to be your stopping point, right? Just because you have all those other Microsoft products, I can tell you for a fact, the other two that I'm showing you today, both work with Outlook very, very well. They work with Excel, Word, merge templates, things like that, very well. OneDrive, Zoho works with very well. Salesforce, okay, from a file perspective, maybe. They have box.com, which is connected to theirs, so it's a little bit more geared towards another product, but there's ways, right? There's always a marketplace to get an add-on, and we should talk about that in a little bit later, right? And then, and when it comes to what I say, Office, OneNote's pretty specific to Microsoft. So that one, if you're a huge user of that, you're not going to really get that in Salesforce or Zoho, right? But for the most part, Outlook, yes, fine, all three, good. Okay, so don't put yourself in that category because you're using Microsoft products now. It has to fit your model again. It has to fit your people. It has to fit your skill set of your individuals, and it's got to fit your budget. Now, I am going to be complete, blunt, straightforward with you on this one. Dynamics 365 for sales, I think, is a complete opposite, different look from Salesforce. Salesforce, while you have a simple look and feel, kind of squared up, not a lot of scrolling. Dynamics, I think, is a little louder. It's a little noisier on the screens. I like it that way. Personally, as I'm not an engineer, but I know I work with plenty of them, and I know engineers like to see as much as possible in one spot, right? They don't need the quick look and go, right? So if I look at, for instance, this opportunity, and I'm going to open this one up, you'll see a common theme across the top. This is where we have that item that has the bar across the top about what's going on. Remember, we talked about that. But there's definitely a lot more scrolling, right? And if I go to like line items and then quotes, we do have the layer on layer. It does happen here, a little bit similar to Salesforce, but there's a lot more related lists that I can go to. If I go, for instance, to the account record for this one, let's just go to Alex Baker as a contact. You're going to see a little bit more of a scroll situation, right? And I can put as much as I want in here too. It's very customizable. I think if anything, Dynamics can be considered customizable to a fault, because when people come to me and say, do you have a common like user guide that I can use and start our people out? I really don't. The reason I don't, everyone's Dynamics looks different, very, very different, right? There's either 2 or 3 columns or 1 column in every design form, okay? These are built so that when they squinch down, you might have 2 columns, you might have 1, and it just goes the whole way. The upside, your phone, it looks just like this, just longer because it moves down, right? The mobile device, the mobile app, fantastic mobile app for Dynamics is a mirror image of this guy. It's just what we're looking at is, it's just smaller, right? So you're training on one product. You don't have to train on 2 different products. Salesforce, fantastic app, a little bit of a different look and feel. Zoho, fantastic app for your phone, very different look and feel. So you're almost training twice on those other 2 products. Dynamics, it's one training session because it's just a matter of the same look and feel, the same items, the same features, just smaller, right, on a phone. So, but it's different. There's more. I can overload it. I can put as many things as I want on here, and I can really make it big. Okay, and that is a good thing to have. It's a positive that I can design it how I want. The negative is it depends on who designed it. Right? If it's by committee, great. We're throwing screens up on the board and we're deciding what it's going to look like. If it's one person is more dominant than the other in those design sessions, it's going to look like he or she wanted. And that's what your system's going to look like. And I've been into sessions. We do a lot of part of the Marks group. What we do is we do a lot of pickup after others have left. Implementations happened 5 years ago. It dwindled with their original partner. 2 years go by. They have a conversation. They meet Gene in Vegas or Orlando or Minnesota, and they bump into him and they say, hey, Gene, can you look at our CRM? And they're like, yeah, I'll get Corey to give you a call. And that's what I do, either myself or someone else on lead on the different product. They call up, we do a remote, we look at these things and we say, yeah, there's some definite things that I would change. And it just happens to be, everyone's got an opinion. Everyone knows it differently than the others, and so therefore it can look very, very different, okay? Salesforce, going back to that idea, I can move fields around, but these two columns in this area over here, it's kind of like a 2-to-1 column. I can move this box over here over to the other side if I want, and I can move vice versa, but you're not going to get a whole lot of difference, okay? It just happens to be that this one I can really do it. Good and a bad, right? Double-edged sword. Timeline, my activities are all in here. This is great. I've got an email from, like, that's logged in here, and I can see this actual email comes in from Outlook, okay? I can actually add an activity here if I wanted to. I can add a phone call right here and say, what's my phone call for, gotta just minimize this over the right, my go-to webinars in the way. And I just say, you know, it was a follow-up on demo, right? And I just do this, and what was the phone number, what was the description, discussed a few things, right? I do that, say when was it due? Well, I could say it was due today, and I can actually just save and close it, and I can complete it right away. We do some customizations usually because oh, this is overdue, but I check this box and now it's done, and that's it. So now there's something in history, and you can see that. And it has the same functions before of that roll-up that I talked about, right? Whereas I have different activities, because now if I look at Trey Research, you're going to see that closed phone call for Alex Baker, right? And it's right there. I could see everything in here. I could see these appointments with Jeremy, right? I could see an email back and forth. This is from an email from Megan too, right? Introduction email, okay? So what's different here is that activity line is a very, as this gets longer, it gets longer, right? And you will scroll and scroll and scroll, but it's all in here. I can filter it if I want to filter it. Like I can click this button and I can say here, what do I want to see? Just the activities, maybe just my emails. And then I just say, there it is, and it's filtered, and now I just have the emails. So it's nice, and it's quick. It's fine that way. And we all know this, okay? A couple real benefits. I mean, I've got, so here's Alex, there's her picture. I go there, there's AdventureWorks as an account. Again, the timeline is in the middle, some information down the left. Basically, out of the box, it looks like this. Static stuff down the left-hand side, dynamic stuff down the middle, related stuff on the right. That's how it's built out of the box, right? Reviewing, going back to Salesforce, related stuff, its own tab. Details is that static stuff, again, a tab. And then my activities that were always over here. The very, very dynamic stuff is over here, the activities, right? Same idea of this, it's just different, okay? My bar over here, my little cheeseburger, as I like to call it, it's usually you can close it or not, but I like to have it over here. I do have my accounts and my contacts. We talked about those. This is a view of my active contacts. This is a view of my active accounts, okay? Here's a view of my opportunities. And again, leads. And leads, they do the same thing. If I look at Gerald Stevens as a lead, my objective with him is a couple activities, right? Here and there. And then I develop, propose, right? This is beyond the lead. Once I convert the lead, I qualify the lead, right? What happens is that lead flows from here into there, and then it becomes developed. They're a prospect with an opportunity, and we just start to go and you know, manage that relationship and try and get that relationship to a purchase, right? To a true customer, right? In Salesforce, we're talking about this again. When I was looking at like Bertha Boxer, I have the idea here that I can convert her, and by converting, it makes her into an account, right? Same idea. I have the opportunity to create a new opportunity if I want to, or not. I can create a new contact in the new business. Dynamics, it's the same idea. However, it automatically creates the opportunity. There's a setting now, took them years, but there's a setting now that you don't have to have that happen. You can just automatically go boom to boom, right? Or this to the 3. And again, that goes back to those 4 items I was talking about earlier, okay? So we've got, you know, just making sure I'm staying on time here. A couple items that are nice to have, a couple of really good ones. If I go to the opportunities here, one of my favorite ones to show, where Dynamics 365 for Sales takes advantage of its relationship with Office, okay? This is where it does step up a little bit. I have the idea here that I can export to Excel, which is static, fine, or dynamic. Dynamic is great. Dynamic is I can save an Excel file to my desktop, and every time I open it up, it will ask, do I want to refresh the data? And I can. So think about your executive that wants to look at reports only. Well, I could give her a set of Excel files that she would double click open, and it would go in, pop open, refresh, and there's my up-to-date pipeline. Okay. I could go to him and do the same thing, right? So it's just, you can manage that for a dynamic worksheet, which is great. Okay. It's like a report. Now, while I've got that being said, going back to the licensing a little bit, one huge difference between dynamics and the others that we're talking about. There is one gigantic license difference between them, and that is that Dynamics allows you to purchase almost a read-only user. It's not really read-only though, because they can do activities and such. They can't own anything. That means they can't have my activity, or they can't have my accounts, my contacts, my opportunities. They can edit, they can change, they can view, they can read, right? They can run reports, all that kind of stuff. And that is generally 15 to 20 bucks a user, okay? So when I was talking about $100 a user per month, named user, I can offset a lot of that by bringing in this 20, right? So if I have 10 of each, because I have 20 users, now I've just averaged my 100, 120, I've just now averaged 60 bucks a user, which is pretty competitive. So there is that, and people can take advantage of that, and they do, right? Because it's keeping in mind that I might have upper management that really just wants a report. They're not going to go in there, log phone calls, do activities, start opportunities, add attachments. They're not going to manage it on a day-to-day basis, but they want to view, they want to look. I have administrative staff that wants to get in there and add new activities, edit activities, maybe edit some dollar amounts, some products and opportunities, but they can't own it, right? That's my idea, right? They cannot own the opportunity. Right, that's fine. So you can do that, and you can offset that cost a lot with that. So it's important. Back to the office. So if I do this, this is my favorite. If I do open an Excel online, okay, just want to make sure we're looking at here. So if I look at this here, because it's a pop-up, I want to make sure you're still seeing it. I actually have the ability here to make some changes. Okay. If I go to this one and I say, you know what, I want to change this around or change this probability, I can do that. I can do it that way. Now, in this case here, I'm going to scroll over a little bit. I can actually say, you know what, this one now is not warm, it's hot, right? This one is now warm. This one is now colder, okay? And I might even have my dates. I could change my dates around, okay? I could change my revenue around. Right? I could take this one and say, you know what, this one's actually going to be $30,000. So what I can do is I can save this. This is where it's worth its weight in gold, because if I save this now, it's not an instant gratification. It's not instant. It's just not. What it does is it kind of imports and puts it in, and eventually what I'm going to do is, you know, I'll hit refresh a few times, and the next thing I know, because it's doing the submitted 3 changes. And the next thing I know, I'll look at it and I'll do a refresh on that view, and then it will eventually be there, and this will be $30,000. This one might be cold, and that one will be hot, whichever it was, whatever ones I changed. My point is, it's Friday afternoon, there's a Monday morning meeting. I better update my pipeline now, or the Monday morning meeting is at 10 a.m. I get in at 9, I've got an hour to update my stuff. I don't have to go into each one. I can just do it from right here, give a little bit of notes, and then away we go, instead of going into each one, okay? Now there is a view that you can do. If I go into this one, for instance, and I can look at it this way. Sorry, I hit the back button there. There is a nice view that I do like that allows me to see this, that allows me to change through. This is kind of nice. It's a little bit confusing at times unless you close this out, but this is on my left-hand side. This is my view of all my opportunities, okay? And I can jump through them and make the changes, and they automatically save. The system automatically saves itself. I can force it to save too, right? So if I go back to my open opportunity view though, we'll see if that changed yet. And it did not just yet, right? And it takes a couple minutes to go through, is what it does. I'm not going to lie to you, but it does go through, and it's very nice when it does it. So it's taking advantage of that. The other real advantage of it is Outlook and Exchange and Office. I mean, Outlook has a beautiful add-on that works for both Outlook.com and Outlook itself, the client, if you're on Office 365, which most are, unless you're a Gmail company. If you're Gmail, we're going to talk about Zoho a little bit, but that's where your emails are. You're able to link them, not automatically. It will not do that. And that's where it's built more for enterprise. Salesforce also doesn't link automatically. Zoho is the only one that does that if you set it up. Salesforce, not automatic, but manual, nice Exchange add-in, right? Nice little add-in on the right-hand side for Outlook. When you do, Zoho has a nice Outlook add-in as well, but you can also do this automatic stuff. Dynamics has a nice, beautiful little app on the right-hand side of your Outlook that allows you to do that stuff, okay? So, let's see here, just answering a question about the admin license. Can the admin license create leads, opportunities, and accounts? No, they cannot. So the creation, and this is just answering Ashby's question, the creation or ownership of, and that's what I was talking about, ownership. There's a lot of all three of these products, and it's something that people get, it takes a while to get your brain wrapped around it. But as I create something, it's my account. I can reassign it to someone else. That's fine. But if Gene created a lead, he would assign it to me. It becomes my prospect, right? And then maybe when I'm done, I give it to Dina and I assign it to her and she's running with the project. So my stuff is different than mine, right? And that's ownership. Unfortunately, the admin license cannot, it cannot do that, okay? So all they can do is they can read, and they can only do the reading, the editing, and looking at the reports and such, okay? They cannot do the full ownership is what it is, okay? And of course, because I'm doing a demo, you can see that my numbers did not match up. I think my cold and hot did. I don't think my revenue did. I think I know why, and it has to do with that there's other products below it that are generating that dollar amount, but I think my hot, warm, and cold did change a little bit, okay? Maybe not. Someone's gonna hold me to it. Okay, so covered licenses. I'm gonna jump to Zoho, and while I'm jumping to Zoho, I'm gonna bring up a third item, a third idea of like the community in the marketplace, okay? So each of these products have a community, forums, third-party integration tools, forums for questions, design help, things like that, right? You can imagine that two of the three here are going to have a larger community because they've been around longer. And you're right. Salesforce is a tremendous training community, online resources, forums, fantastic ways to get things done. Same with Dynamics, almost to a fault, because it gets mixed up with that other stuff. Sometimes you do a little search on something from Microsoft and Google, and you're going to end up with SQL Server tips from 2006 that don't apply anymore. But they're there. The forum is there. Both of them have very, very good hackability. And then I'm going to take someone's code here. How did they do that? And I'm going to make it happen here. Oh my God, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that. Okay. Zoho, a little bit newer into the space, 6-7 years, right? They're an international company. They've been around a long time. They've actually been around since the mid 2000s, but they were a development company. They weren't a CRM company. So they're a development company. They were using Salesforce at the time, rumor has it, and they went, we can make our own, and they did. So therefore now then the birth of Zoho CRM. So, and it's gone through a bunch of changes through the years, and it's pretty clean now. We ourselves, I'm not gonna lie, full disclosure, we changed over to Zoho CRM probably about 6-7 years ago, right? We came from Goldmine. No offense, that's what we did. That's where we started 25 years ago, right? So we moved to that, but we're a smaller company. Gene talked about that, in the beginning, that we're a smaller firm. We're not enterprise level. We don't need that level of CRM that you might. But Zoho works for us. Zoho's great. I'll get back to it. So on a community level or a level of popularity and such, you've got forums, questions online, help, things like that. Your other part is the third-party market, the marketplace, right? What is my third-party integrations? How do I connect MailChimp to my Dynamics? How do I connect Constant Contact to this? How do I connect my ERP to Salesforce, right? Those products, the ones that have been out the longest, they do have an advantage that there are integrators out there that will work with both, right? That will work with Dynamics, Microsoft, everybody wants to get into there. Salesforce, everyone definitely wants to get into there. And when they build a third-party product, little secret, not much of a secret, everyone knows it if you're in this space, but the idea for Salesforce is I want to build something that's a fantastic integration, and hopefully Salesforce is going to buy me out and buy the software, and that's what they do, because that's how Salesforce grows. It's a part of their business model. They grow by acquiring other pieces that do well by their system. Data.com, that was originally another product, right? Then it became part of them, and it's an add-on selling product now, or an add-on for what they can sell you right now. So that third-party product marketplace integrations, how do I connect this to this? They're out there, and they really are there for your phone, for your ERP, for whichever, right? Maybe your service application, your field service application, my HVAC truckers that are out there driving every day. Those are out there, but you got to look. So what I do as advice, and Gene will back me up on this, is that sometimes you got to start in the opposite direction to find what's good for you, okay? If your ERP is #1 in your world, then what you do is you start with the ERP and say, what CRM systems integrate with my ERP, okay? And then you figure out which one it is, and you have to go dive in that way. Because your ERP is solid, it's there, it's our company is in bed with it hard, right? I mean, there's what runs our world. So therefore I need to find a CRM as a bolt-on that will work with it. Might be the opposite. Most of our clients, it's the opposite. Most of the clients, they've got an ERP for a while, they want to pick a good CRM, make things more productive, and then they'll figure out the ERP later. You don't want to do both at the same time, right? If you've got a service item or a phone system or a field service software that works beautifully and it runs your company, yes, you want to start there and see what integrates, okay? Anyway, let's go to Zoho. So going back into Zoho, it's an Indian-based company. It is an international company. It's hit the US really hard in the last 5 to 6 years. And I mean that in a good way. They're very popular here. I would say, and it could be just because we're dealing more with small, medium-sized businesses a lot of times, but we have the majority of our reselling. I don't know if Gene wants me to say this out loud, but I'd say the majority of our sales is Zoho at this point, right? And I think it's more so because those that are changing, those that are new, again, it goes back to that car in the garage, right? If I have a Lexus in the garage, right, maybe a Porsche in the garage, that's your Dynamics. If I have a Ferrari, that's your Salesforce. The Camry, the Lexus, that's your Zoho, right? Using it every day is not the end of the world for you, especially when the Zoho costs on average about $40 a user per month. So it's so much lower than everything else. It's a third of the cost of what Salesforce is, and about half the cost of what, definitely half of your all full users in Dynamics. It's less than half the cost of that. But if you're offsetting with a few admins, you're probably about half the cost of Dynamics. So very, very popular, easy to use, cost effective, great. And honestly, I will stand by it and say it does almost everything the other two do, and maybe more in certain places. Okay. The nice thing to keep in mind, and what you do have to kind of look at, is that Zoho is a suite of products. So if I hit this, much like Microsoft, there are other items out there where you're going to hear something called Zoho One, where Zoho One CRM is a part of it, but it's this gigantic umbrella of products. This is some of them here. So for instance, you've got marketing, which is like their HubSpot, right? You've got survey, which is their Survey Monkey. You've got campaigns, which is their MailChimp or Constant Contact, right? Sales IQ, which is their online chat, right? That you can add on your website that integrates directly with the CRM. If someone comes to visit the website, they pop in and start a chat. They give your name, phone number, and an email address and say start chat. Oh, there's no one there? Sorry about that, but we just got a lead, right? So that's integrated hard with the CRM. That's great. There's project management. Okay, there's a lot of different things out here that people will look at and they want to go down that road. So think of Zoho as more of a suite of products, but we're going to focus on CRM. Okay. Same idea. I've got my leads, accounts, contacts, opportunities. I renamed it opportunities. If those were paying attention in the beginning, I said Zoho calls them deals. Out of the box, they're called deals. But it's the same idea. Here's my opportunities. I can look at my opportunities. I can see what's out there. This is a view that I have right here. Potentials, that's what it used to be long ago, right? So I've got my opportunities. Now what I do like is I've got a different view here. I can go to the standard list view that we were looking at earlier, my Excel type view. But if I want to, I can also go to my Kanban view, which is great. I can do this and say, you know what? This one here, I need to move over in here. My value proposition, they just went up, okay? Should be able to, there it is. So it went up to $11,000, great, okay? This one here, just modifying my pipeline, this one's actually in here now, okay? And this is reactive to what view I'm in. So I might be in closing next month, might be lower, closing this month, right? And I might just say like my opportunities, and there's different, it's different, okay? And this goes all the way over to won, lost, you know, win, lose, and win, lose, or draw. So I've got in here my different opportunities, the different stages, all customizable. And that goes for all the products. Those stages that I'm picking in the front, like develop, propose, you know, quote, those are all customizable, okay? My accounts, let's just go look at ABC Company, okay? So ABC Company here, it's a prospect right now. Now, I wanna talk about this here. I'm the owner. You see my little picture over here, that's fine. I'm the owner of this record as well, right? There's my little pop-up, okay? Then my phone, if I got this connected to my internet phone, I can do the same thing. I can dial this, right? We talk about licenses, fine. We talked about the marketplace, the community, fine. The design of the products, that's another one again, gut feel and cost. So here, we know what this looks like, right? We know, as I said, it's a little bit busier. Dynamics is, I think, could be wrong. It's to each his own, right? Salesforce, I think, is more concise, you know, like a compact. It's a better word to use. You know, it's all in here where I can look at my recent, you know, it's kind of fast to move around. My recent opportunities, I can go there. Everything's kind of compact and it's there. But again, I talked about the customizations. These I could swap, I can move some fields around, I can move them here and there. Dynamics ad infinitum, I can customize the heck out of it. Zoho, it's kind of like two columns with a lot of stuff below, okay? A lot of stuff down below, which is my activities, my related items, things like that. So that dynamic stuff is at the bottom. My static stuff is at the top. And I can hide that static stuff and kind of jumps me right to the dynamic, my notes, my contacts, things like that, right? I have all those items and I can do that. But it's two columns. The humor behind it from my perspective, because I see all these products and how they cheat off of each other all the time, because they do. Like Dynamics having these multiple tabs across the top is just like this. Chatter, details, activity. They cheat, they just do. 1 minute, one product will have something, the next will have it 6 months later, maybe vice versa. It depends on who's doing it. From a Zoho standpoint, remember what I said about Zoho having having Salesforce, and then they kind of jumped and made their own? This looks exactly like Salesforce Classic, which was two columns and a bunch of stuff down below. But you could jump to the stuff down below because of a shortcut at the top. Well, now I've got the shortcut at the bottom. If I want to see my emails, I jump down here, boom, there's 8 emails. Great, okay? And that's where we are. So it's all there. It's easy to navigate, I think. Whether it's the contacts, if I go look at a contact here, let's just go here and do, we'll just do this one for instance. So if I look at this here as my son as a sample, it's two columns with a bunch of stuff down below. Okay, here's my activities. They're kind of closed into 3 different columns. My open activities are here, right? And I'm actually going to show you, I'm going to try and show you something of someone that's actually been there. Let me go to my recent. Okay, go to my recently viewed, right? And I go here. There's an opportunity I'm looking at. Things across the top, decision makers, same type of idea, right? Again, I know there's a stage history. I know there's an open activity, closed activity, right? They're all right here, and that's fine. I've got my emails and quotes. So it's all in here, but again, it's scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. So from the very compact to the a little bit of scrolling, maybe some tabs, and then I've got scrolling, you can see how they all are very similar, but this one's kind of a hybrid of both. This one's very scrolly, and this one's all compact. Okay, and again, cost and gut feel. I think I go back to when I was stating about like you have to know your people, right? And so I think that I will tell you, I do. I don't do as much as we've got more people training on our team, but I would say in the last 5 years, it's actually last 10 years of CRM, I've probably done 80% of our training sessions for the company. I just do it because at a high level, I'm training users. I don't do the development. I don't get into the guts of it. I know how, I don't choose to. From that training perspective, this is the easiest product to train of the ones that we have, including Goldmine, right? Which is another one of our products that we still kind of support. It's an easy train because every form looks the same. 2 columns with a bunch of stuff. I understand the navigation. I understand how to click into something and make this change. Needs analysis, hit the checkbox, right? I know how to go down to over to my plus and say open activity. I'm going to do a new task. Right there, pop up, easy. Follow up on demo. Put in a date, next week, say save, right? I know how to go here, do this, and say, you know what, I'm gonna do a phone call. Ooh, let's log a call. I actually like this feature. This is automatically done, okay? I can say view purpose, customizable, prospecting, what was the result? They're interested, what was the description? Talked about this and that. Okay, if I could spell. So I do that, boom, boom, done, right? So I have, I know, and I've got little flags that kind of help me out. I know that this one's overdue. Let me show you this one. When I go to my contacts, in all contacts, I can actually see through. I look at my contacts or recent contacts, right? I can usually see the flags that I want to see. Let me do all contacts. I'm looking for my flags because if I scroll through here, there's a flag there, that's overdue. Keep going, there's another overdue. It's a sample database, folks. I'm not that bad. So here I have opportunities, and I can go back to my list view again, and we have a similar idea. These are all my overdue. This is unique to Zoho, like showing that I have these unique items, right? These overdue tasks that are attached to the opportunities. That's unique to Zoho. No other product we do shows that task from a quick view like this. If I go to my leads, it's the same thing. If they're green, they're to be done. If they're red, they're overdue. If they're yellow, they're today, right? So I can see that pretty easily when I'm doing this, okay? Now I go to my home page here. Again, there's a follow-up on demo. I just made that one. It's green, it's due next week. These others are a little bit overdue, a month or two, okay? I go this is my dashboard. This is where we start. Remember this? We were talking about these before. Like if I go to my home, just click that, go to my home page, go to my home page. We're all about the dashboards. What's my today's tasks? What's my dashboard here? A lot going on here, but I put on the complicated fancy one here. This shows me all my opportunities, my activities, my open leads, my pipeline, what's out there, right? My dashboard here, I've got a couple of them. I've got this one here, it shows me a little bit more if I want, right? I've got a couple dashboards that I can use. Manager's home, you know, you might have this with opportunities and close rates, okay? They all have reporting. They all have dashboards, analytics. It's good in that regard. These are it has custom items, custom objects that you can create. That's what I've done as well. I have like security details that I can track if I want to add in what their server name is and what the username is, right? They have encryption. They're all PCI compliant. They're all deeply secure and mirrored across the planet in different data centers, things like that. Gene talked about that before with the safety of the cloud. Took a long time for people to kind of go there and say, I want to get into the cloud, but they did finally, and we're doing well, right? Because I think that there's a team of security experts at each one of these locations that are focused on just maintaining that security. Whereas you might have a server down the hall and you have a couple IT folks and their job is to monitor the security. That's fine, that's great. You know where it is, it's in your building, but there's just 2 people, sometimes 1. That's what concerns me most. I like the fact that there's security teams that are managing this, and I don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about backups. You don't have to worry about managing it from a restore standpoint. Where's the data? Are we going to run out of room? No, it's just space. They sell it to you if you need more space. That being said, Zoho is the cheapest one for space. Dynamics gets a little bit more expensive, same with Salesforce. So you run out of space if you start storing all of your emails. Zoho has an item here that if I look at records, I can see, like if I do Gene, see if I get Gene in here. If I have his email, now I happen to be connected, so you can see I have multiple emails for Gene, right? These are all emails that I sent out to him that he's looking at. Some he's received, some were sent by me. Others, these look like he opened them, which is fine. And I could send him a new email if I wanted to right now. And I'm an Outlook user, but I would do this. And if I send it here, testing only, what happens is, and I can even do a template if I want, right? I can send this email. It will go into my Outlook sent mail. It uses an IMAP connection to get that done. And now I know that he's got this email in there. And if he did happen to open it, right, at a certain point, it will say opened, right? Which is nice because it's sent from Zoho and it knows if he opened or not. That's key when you're a small business, right? Now, Zoho wants to sell to 100 users. They want to sell to 50, 60, 70 users, 200 users, 300 users. They say sky's the limit. Personally, for me, I think their sweet spot ends about 50 users. So I think it's anywhere from 2 to 40. How about that? 2 to 50 is what you could be doing for number of users for Zoho. Okay. Let me just open up this just to see if I had any other questions. Don't see any other questions out here. At this point, I'm kind of up. I did my hour. I did. Gene went a little bit faster in his first hour than he'd said, but I did my hour. You know, it's at this point, I'm kind of there unless there's any questions or anything like that regarding those 3 products and what we've got.
Corey, you are awesome. Thank you very much. That was really, really good. And it was a good, quick review, good overview of what those 3 applications do. And everybody, thanks for hanging in there. Glad that you're all still here. We've got just maybe 20 minutes left to go. And what I'd like to do is I would like to, I'm going to unshare. Corey, let me make myself the presenter here. Yep. And there we go. I'm going to show my screen. I'm going to bring up this slide. And Corey, can you confirm that I've got a slide up here, key CRM players?
Confirm your key CRM players, yes.
Sounds good. All right, you can get rid of your video and mute yourself and all that good stuff. And
all right, very good. Well, thank you, folks. Yeah. Thanks for the time.
You're awesome. Thank you. So guys, just want to go through, you know, we've talked about Zoho, we've talked about Dynamics, and we've talked about, you know, Salesforce. There's a lot of other CRM applications that are out there that are really, really good. And like I said at the beginning of this presentation, there's only, you know, 10 of us in the company. I wish I could sell them all, but I can't. I cover them for Forbes. I write about this stuff. I talk about it. There's a lot of really good players. So these are the mainstream ones that are out there. There are hundreds of CRM applications, vertical applications, smaller applications, specific ones for specific purposes. But let me just at least go over with you some of the main players that are out there and just give you some of my thoughts on them so that you just know where to look, okay? Really, you know, the landscape is divided into 2 things. Number 1 is the sort of enterprise level CRMs. The enterprise level CRMs really are, if you're an implementation of say more than 50 users. These are, you know, for large companies, Fortune 5,000 companies, maybe even larger than that. These, you know, applications do heavy, you know, customization, heavy development work, have a lot of development support. They're implemented by much larger players out there, everyone from Ernst & Young to Accenture to large scale, you know, CRM implementers as well. They're good. They've been around. All of the ones that you see here on this list, you know, we have clients. I bump into many companies that are using them. They're all excellent for integrating to other systems. They're just expensive. I mean, you know, Salesforce, as Corey has said, I mean, you're going to start at $125 a month a user, and then you have a lot of different add-ons to it. Even Dynamics starts at $65 a month a user, but typical clients pay between $95 to $150 a month a user, depending on what you know, modules and applications that they're using. Oracle, SAP, and Sage are also really big players. And then, of course, NetSuite. NetSuite is known more for its sort of ERP and accounting, but it has a very good standalone CRM application as well. These applications, just so you know, when people come to me and they're looking for CRM systems, one of the questions I do ask them is, what are you using internally for your ERP, your financial, your accounting, kind of stuff? And if people say, well, we're using, one of Dynamics Financials. Okay, well, you should be looking at Microsoft Dynamics. I've run into a lot of people that are using Sage products. Sage has a good CRM module, and if you're using, Sage financial products, you probably want to look at that first, because even though it might cost a little bit more, the integration of it could be quite powerful and something that you definitely want to consider. Same thing with Oracle and SAP, and of course NetSuite. These are all enterprise level financial applications, and then they have enterprise level CRM applications, and that's why you really want to consider them all. So those are the big guys, the big players. Let's talk about for small and mid-sized businesses. And Corey is right, saying anywhere from, say, 2 to 50 users. When I talk to prospective clients, people looking at CRMs, and they're like, hey, we are looking for a CRM, and we have 5 users, we have 15 users, we have 10 users. Generally I'm going to steer them more to these 2 columns of SMB products. And again, there are plenty of other really great CRMs that are out there. This is just the main ones that I see, the main players, the ones that are sort of most popular that they're in the market. So you want to consider that. So let me run through them, and I'm going to give you just little pros and cons and things to keep in mind. First of all, before I talk about them specifically, please know that I think I can say across the board that any one of the applications that you see on this list, with a few exceptions, are going to be fine for you. Like I said at the very beginning of this presentation, these are cloud-based applications for the most part. I'm going to get to those 2 here that are not. If they're watching each other, their features are up to date, they're all mature. Honestly, if anyone on the left column, if you were to buy any of these applications and you're unhappy with them, it's probably because it's been implemented poorly, not because the application is poor. I mean, honestly, they're all good. Different people buy one over the other because of look and feel and the partner or the vendor that they're working with, not necessarily the features and functionalities, okay? Like Corey said, if you get Zoho, Zoho is known as a suite product, SUITE. It's a product that is sold not only just for CRM, but it has accounting, it has project management, it has HR, it has other project modules that dovetail into it. It is around $40 to $50 a month a user. It's powerful. The biggest drawback to Zoho that I usually find is it's an Indian-based company, so sometimes their support can be a little bit slower or frustrating, but they have a pretty extensive network of partners. We're one of them. So if you work with a good partner, you should be able to get your support and you should be okay. We love Zoho. I use it internally in my company. There's no such thing as a perfect application, but Zoho is a pretty good one, pretty powerful one, and one that should definitely be considered in any small business's review of CRM products. Nimble is also very good. Nimble was actually created by the former creator of Goldmine software, which you can see on the other side. I'll get to that soon. A guy's named John Ferrara. Nimble is if you're using Microsoft Office, and you're a Microsoft user, you should definitely take a look at Nimble. It integrates well with Microsoft products. In fact, it's one of the only ones on this list that it's sold through the Microsoft channel, because Microsoft is not really interested in you if you've got, say, less than 10 users. They don't think that Dynamics it's like overkill for you, but maybe they can get you into it by using Nimble. It integrates well with Outlook, integrates well with Office 365. You can buy it through the Microsoft channel. Again, priced similarly to Zoho. Sugar CRM I like very much. It's been a long time player. It has a very strong channel. It is also an application that comes both cloud-based, and you can buy one that's client server-based, so you can have it in-house. Sugar also has a version that comes with complete source code as well. So if you really want to take apart the engine and dig into it and do a lot of customization and development work, it's a good application for that. Strong CRM modules and marketing modules as well. Again, a good channel, something that, again, if you're looking to customize, you're looking, maybe you want to have something in-house or in the cloud or a combination of the two, Sugar is a good player to look at. Copper specializes in Google. It is a CRM application that's built directly into Gmail, and it integrates really well with Google's business applications. Copper has made this decision that we're going all in on Google, but we are not going in on anything else. So if you're like a Microsoft shop, I just want to make sure that you're not, be aware that it's probably not a product for you. So it is very, very powerful and very, very good from a sales perspective and a service perspective. But it is, again, it's if you're using Gmail, you're using Google applications in your business, go for Copper. And by the way, I'm seeing some questions come in. I promise you I'm going to go through those questions as soon as I'm done here and I can get answers directly to you. So just hang tight and keep them coming. Insightly, very nice application. Insightly is priced very similar to Copper, Sugar, and Nimble, anywhere from 20 to 40 bucks a month a user. Has a very, very nice interface. Not as powerful customization features as some of the other applications, but a very, very good feature-rich CRM application specifically for small business. Pipedrive is an interesting application. Again, priced in the $20 to $30 range per user per month for Pipedrive. It is really a great sales tool. Pipedrive is really strong in environments where there are a lot of just straight sales. Real estate firms love Pipedrive. Direct selling firms love Pipedrive. Doesn't do much with marketing, doesn't do much with service, but its interface, its customizability, and its reports and its automation to drive sales teams, it's very powerful. So if you've got just a sales team and you want just like a really easy to use, ready to go, pipeline based, forecasting based, lead management, sales management application right out of the box at an affordable price, Pipedrive is a very, very good choice that you might want to consider. HubSpot, we sell HubSpot. It's an excellent application. HubSpot is a marketing application with a really good CRM module. Now I compare that to say Zoho, which we also sell. Zoho is a CRM application with a really good marketing module. So if you're considering HubSpot, just know this. We sell HubSpot to companies where the CRM is being driven by the marketing team. It's the VP of marketing. We want a good inbound and outbound marketing platform for my team, because HubSpot ain't cheap. It can be thousands of dollars in your first year, and it's priced per user and per month, but it is a little bit more expensive than Zoho. HubSpot itself is an application that you can set up. I'm gonna see. Integrate it with your website and have really good inbound and outbound marketing with good, strong CRM features that supports it and a really powerful CRM product that's behind it. So again, if you're marketing focused first, not sales focused, HubSpot is excellent. That provides great CRM. However, if you're sales focused first and not exactly marketing focused, as a priority, products like Zoho, Nimble, Sugar would be more suitable for you. Keep used to be Infusionsoft. Keep is very, very similar in the sense to HubSpot. It is a marketing-driven application that costs, again, between $20 and $40 a month a user, depending on what you want to use it for. And Keep itself has very, very good outbound marketing capabilities with strong CRM features. Going to the second column, Zendesk. Remember I told you that HubSpot and Keep are like really good if your marketing is driving the conversation and then it's got a good CRM to back it up. Zendesk is really good if your service team is driving the conversation, because Zendesk is a service management application with excellent capabilities for doing issues, complaints, calls, queuing of problems, automation, workflows for service issues, even some field service, with a very strong CRM background to it. So again, when people are looking for, it's like a service team that really wants a good CRM system, I'd be like, okay, you should be using Zendesk because it's going to give you all the service capabilities as a priority, and you're going to love the CRM features that come along with it. Now, Goldmine, Act, and Maximizer. These are long, old systems. They've been around for ages. They all started out as contact managers and Salesforce automation products. Well, now they're still there. They are not cloud-based applications. They do offer some cloud-based features and functionality. Maximizer for sure. Act has a version that's somewhat cloud-based. Goldmine just basically gives you the option to host their system inside the cloud. But I can tell you a few things. Goldmine, Act, and Maximizer have been around for a long time. They still have very loyal followings. Goldmine in particular, what I like about them and Act and Maximizer is because they sell on-premise applications, that's where they grew up in, they don't charge the monthly fee thing. So there are versions there, like Goldmine, for example, I think is like $3,000 for 5 users. Just boom, you pay it one time, you own it, you stick it on your server, and away you go. Now, there's drawbacks to a lot of these on-premise applications. You still have to do upgrades. They can't support it as well. Their integrations are not good because everything else is in the cloud. But if you just want a simple, contact management or sales management system that you want to install in in a server in your office, any one of those three are really good to do just that. But just be aware they're older architecture. I think that, in my opinion, of the three, the application that's most advanced is Maximizer. They do offer both cloud and on-premise options, and they do have a good channel as well. Maximizer is based, I think, in Canada as well, but they've been a player for a long time. And again, if you're the kind of company that's like, hey, we'd really like to have something in-house, those are three options that you want to consider. Finally, I do bump into this product called Method once in a while, and we've implemented Method a few times. Method is an application that if you're using QuickBooks and you want to integrate it with a CRM system. QuickBooks doesn't come with a very good CRM system, but weirdly enough, so it is it relies on integrating with other CRMs. Well, all the CRMs that you see here listed here, there are third-party applications that will integrate those CRMs with QuickBooks. So that's fine. But Method, for me, it's like a CRM built for QuickBooks. That's how they position themselves. I think it's one of the best CRMs that integrate with QuickBooks. I don't think the capabilities has all of the functionality that you're going to see in more mature and advanced applications, certainly not like a Salesforce or even a Zoho. But for the clients that have implemented it, the features have been good enough. And because it was important for them to integrate this with QuickBooks, it was something that they decided to do, okay? So those are some of the most mainstream players. I see that Corey, I'm going to the questions here, and I see that Corey has gone and specifically answered some of these questions that were raised regarding pricing of Zoho. He's given that. So you guys can look at the question and answer pane. He's also looked at the admin license to create leads and opportunities or accounts. This is in Salesforce. Corey did answer that as well. And also the same about the Teams and Dynamics integration. Again, Corey has answered that as well. So that is the main things that we wanted to cover. I just have one final thing before I let you guys go, only because I think it's a real important conversation to have, and I just want to make sure that you're aware of this, and then Corey and I can say our goodbyes. It's this. People ask me all the time about buying a CRM system, and when they ask me all the time, I like to go through this analysis, whether or not it's worth it. So if you're looking to buy a CRM system, and I'm an accountant, so I kind of like to look at it from a return on investment capabilities. So I've had this around for a while. You have to make this judgment yourself. Here's the methodology you use to determine if it's worthwhile to buy a CRM system. There's two things you want to look at: revenues lost by not having a CRM system, quotes that you didn't follow up, customers that didn't get responses, missed opportunities. Can you quantify that in any given year? And can you quantify any productivity lost because your team are doing repetitive tasks or they're doing things that could be automated and save some time? In this example, I show you that this company says, we lost 3 sales because we weren't following up on things and weren't getting responses, or we missed an opportunity, or things fell through the cracks, and each sale was worth $10,000. So we lost $30,000 in sales that we might not have lost if we had a CRM system. And oh, by the way, we could probably save 10 hours a week across our company by automating a lot of the tasks that we're doing with the CRM system. And if we assume $40 an hour over 50 weeks, we could save $20,000, which basically means if we got a CRM system, we could potentially be saving $50,000 in a year. And if you look at over 7 years of using the typical CRM system, you could theoretically save $350,000 if you extrapolate it to that level. And then you look at the cost of a CRM system and you say, okay, five user system usually would take us about 50 hours to implement it, $200 an hour, $10,000. And typical CRM system might cost $50 a month a user. Over 7 years would be $21,000. The bottom line is that you would spend about $31,000 to get a CRM system to potentially have a return 10 times of $350,000. I'm using this. It's an extreme example. I get it. It's going to be your numbers. You have to figure out what makes the most sense for you. But use this template because it is definitely something that you can take it. Do that calculation to see if the return on investment. And if you put in your numbers and your numbers are coming out a lot less, and you're not getting much of a return on investment, hey man, take that same money and buy a piece of equipment, or hire a salesperson, or do something else with the money. If it ain't worth it, it ain't worth it. Because that's how it's how my smartest clients view all investments, whether it's technology or something more tangible. They're always looking at it from a return on investment standpoint. So, it's our final slide. I'm going to be reaching out to you guys. Don't you worry. I know Corey can attest to that. This is my contact information. That is my cell phone number. So feel free to call me on that. You will get directly to me. We have an office number as well, but that's my cell phone. That's my email address. All of my CRM and technology articles and all the other stuff that I write in various places goes on my Medium account. It's genemarks.medium.com, and that is my Twitter account @GeneMarks. You can see our main number up top. Feel free to reach out to me and I can answer any questions or make recommendations or walk you through whatever you want to do. Corey, do you have any final words before we let everybody go?
No, I'm good. Everything you said there, I liked what you're saying about the, is this a good buy for me? I think that's something to keep in mind. I know that you and I both, whenever we start a project, meet a new lead, new prospect, we still want to be liked 6 months later, right? We still want to be friends 6 months later. We still want to we want to do right by you and say, this isn't for you. It makes us horrible salespeople. That when I walk people away from saying, I don't know if you're ready for a CRM system yet, it's just not it. So it is a good thing. It is one of the resources that one of the things that we actually provide as a service. Am I ready? What's the analysis? What do we do? Show me a demo. Let's talk about your system a little bit. But that's what this information here to contact Gene. He'll funnel it to the right people. Could be me, could be someone else on the team. But yes, by all means, let us know how we can help. Thank you.
I'll be reaching out to all of you guys, and a recording of this will also be available, and I'll send you a link to access it. So everyone, thank you so much for attending. I know it's 2 hours out of your life. It's a long time. I hope you got some good value from this. Reach out with questions. I'll be doing the same. Corey, you're awesome. Thank you so much for your time. It's so valuable. And we'll leave it go for there. Enjoy, everybody, and hope to see you again sometime. Take care.